to another day of Bike Diaries. It's hazy, windy, Sunday afternoon. But I would have a short ride here at the Industrial Parkway. Talk a little bit about safety, starting off with, as well as future upgrades. Rather, upgrades are really needed with a bike like this. But first and foremost, safety. So every week before I actually ride, I do a lug nut check, where I check the rear tire lug nuts as well as the quick release on the front tire. I just do this with a regular adjustable wrench, and I think that this is ideal to just make sure that you're not riding around with loose parts. The last thing you want is to have an accident at 30 to 35 miles an hour. I just don't think it would end very well. And for anybody going above that speed limit, I don't think I need to say too much. So, I always keep an Allen wrench set in the garage. I keep an adjustable wrench, ratchet set. The more tools, the better. And you can find a lot of these on Amazon. If you do a search for bike kits or bike repair kits, you find a number of different options. So I would highly suggest keeping one close by for yourself. But yeah, it's a hazy day, so here in Ohio, we're getting a lot of effect from the Canadian fires. In fact, most people in the Northeast are getting affected by the Canadian fires right now. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be out for too long today, but I needed to get some sun, and I needed to get my ride therapy in. It was a really busy week. It had its ups and downs. But the way I like to kind of conclude my weekend is getting at least a daytime ride in. Normally I would be out here with my son, but he actually spent the day playing at the park and visiting family. So that gave me a little bit of time to get a ride in today. Okay, I'm gonna find a place to park, and I want to have a quick discussion about potential upgrades. Let's see if we can find a nice. Oh, it's so windy. I love it when it's windy like this. Actually, just the sound of the trees. Oh, this is perfect. Let's get some pedaling in really quick. And we'll find a spot to pull over and have a quick chat. Oh wow, there's a smart car over there. So I think with the next couple videos, I might try to do head-mounted display just to kind of change perspective. There's a lot of things that you guys don't see outside of the peripheral view on this GoPro, so we might do that. And as I mentioned, this place is a ghost town on Sunday, so as you can see, it's only a few random cars parked out here. But yes, ride therapy. So another reason why I ride is it helps me to self-reflect. So there's actually a really interesting article I would like to share. I'm going to try to put a link to it at the bottom of this video, or maybe in this description. But came across this really cool article that summed up the importance of ride therapy and how bicycling is a great combination of physical exercise combined with therapy, but also a great way to kind of pull yourself out of your head. You know, there's a book I would like to actually give a shout out to called The Power of Now by an author named Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle. I think it's Tolle. He does a great job of summing up how to bring yourself into the present moment, get out of your head, and basically, overcome things like anxiety, panic attacks, depression. All right, so I've been trying to figure out, what upgrades I should and shouldn't do with this bike. So first of all, I'm perfectly content with this bike doing 35 miles an hour. I think that's a safe speed. It's decent enough for traveling on sidewalks, at parks, getting in the street, and everything else, right? Except for the interstate, clearly. So the question is, should I or should I not push this bike to go faster? First, let's talk about why people buy these bikes and upgrade them. Whether you are a hobbyist or, somebody who just needs to have more torque, that's one justified reason. Or whether you're making upgrades based around pedaling and exercise, and maybe you want the bike to be lighter. Like, for instance, I took the fenders off of this bike because it cut down on weight. They were steel fenders, possibly aluminum, but they added to the weight. I changed the color of this bag to a vinyl to match the aesthetic, so that was an upgrade. And all in all, I only spent maybe about $400 on this bike in total. So upgrades were very minimum and didn't necessarily change too much of the cost of the bike in terms of what the purchase price was versus getting the upgrades. Now, some things I was thinking of actually adding to this bike if I do upgrade. If you kind of see this cage area here, you can easily fit a larger controller in there, something like a Sabaton. So I was thinking of going with a 72-volt setup. I have to figure out how to fit a battery in there in terms of taking out the carrier and then putting a different battery in. And then going with like a 2,000 to 3,000 watt motor for the hub back here was also an idea. Now, when I priced that, it was anywhere between $1,200 to $1,400. So, that's almost paying for the bike again, even though the bike was $1,600. So it kind of comes down to necessity versus aesthetic building desires. Is it necessary? So I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Should this bike go any faster? I mean, all in all, when I was looking at the performance spec on going with a 2,000 to 3,000 watt motor, which is kind of the cap I want to stay at, it was about 40 to 45 miles an hour in difference, really just around that 40 mile an hour difference. Is that a necessary upgrade? A 5 mile an hour difference for $1,400 to $1,500. So I don't know. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. So with this bike being a scrambler style bike, one of the other upgrades that I want to do is eventually I'm going to switch out these tires, and I'm going to go with the V-Moto Huntsman tires. They're the extra thick wall design, so they should last pretty good and you can take them off-road. I love V-Moto tires, or I should say I've really come to like them. But they definitely are not made for grass or mud. You will get some slippage. So I would say, definitely consider what tire you want to go with. When you get your first e-bike, And if you know, depending on where you buy it, you might get some starter Kenda tires, which are like the cheapest you can get. I'm pretty sure if you've looked up an e-bike, you've seen them, the default tires on every bike. But you know, I've got some Kendas that I actually just switched out on my other bike. They wear out fast, and I've gotten multiple flats with them. So if you are going to get Kendas, just be prepared for flats. Buy some of that flat out that I showed you guys earlier. Should be good to go. Very windy today. Very windy. It's a neighborhood that's still under construction. A lot of new houses over here. Oh yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention. So the difference between this bike and the YYG, well, first and foremost, this one comes with turn signals. So that's probably the most obvious thing that you might notice between the two. I try to use them. Like I just used them now. I really need to use them more. Whenever I'm doing road etiquette with my son, I definitely use them then. And it is really windy today. But the parking lot is empty, so that's good. These tires are actually pretty good for cornering. You know, they're not as good as obviously Magura motorcycle tires, which you'll see on a lot of different Super 73s. Speaking of which, on the topic of Super 73, you know, I see a lot of people on the e-bike forums, you know, asking about what should be their first e-bike. And it's a really good question. I really think that it's relative to what you want to get out of the bike, whether it's just joyriding, exercise, or if you want to just be a vlogger. If you want to just be a vlogger, I mean, you can do that with any bike. If you live in New York and you want to stay in that bike scene, I would probably say definitely go with a Super 73. Just understand you're going to be spending quite a bit of money. This bike could definitely keep up in a group ride in, say, New York, but being a 20 amp hour battery, it's more useful as a around town quick commuter and exercise bike. So that's typically what I use it for. But it's still a very relevant question though. And I would say ask yourself again, is this a utility or is this a toy? And then you'll find your answer. Now, we are currently going through inflation. I know a lot of people don't want to actually acknowledge that, but it is a reality. We are currently in the midst of inflation. There's a lot of talk about the economy having a major pickup at the end of this year. In fact, they're saying the housing market is going to have a major pickup, which I'm hopeful for. I think that'll be awesome. You know, if all of a sudden mortgage rates changed, interest rates changed, and then it's became more of a buyer's opportunity. Absolutely, you know, but from the looks of it, that's not the reality currently. So, if you're trying to get an item like this, you need to shop accordingly. Hence the reason why I went with the Chinese bike. Now, if you know you are on a budget and you would like a bike like this, don't wait, buy. That is not me being a salesman, that is me being a realist. There are trade relations that may change in the future between China and the United States. A lot of this is currently still being debated over, you know, what is the future of trade relations between the United States and China, given current global tensions. So I would definitely say buy now. Don't hesitate on if you want that thing or you need that thing, just buy it. Because, you know, the United States may wind up having to develop new trade relationships. I'm hearing India is a big factor and a potential new trade partner. So anyway, take a look at the site. If you see anything on Green Grid that you want, definitely make a purchase. Okay, here's my second favorite street. They usually do mile per hour chess on the street. Let's do it. It's pretty windy today, so might not hit any top speeds. We'll see. So I guess this faded little strip to the right is supposed to be a bike lane. It's kind of a joke. We definitely need better bike lanes in my area. Alright, it's pretty windy out today. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but very windy. Alright, so second book recommendation, the Dokudo. I did mention this in another video by Musashi Miyamoto. Check it out. Dokudo is an amazing book. definitely will open you up to new ways of thinking. All right, guys, it has been fun.